morning, students. Yesterday we studied about determinants of demand or factors affecting demand. We talked about individual demand and market demand. Today we are going to start the topic with difference between individual demand and market demand. Individual demand. It is the quantity demanded of a commodity by an individual consumer at given price during a given period of time. Here, the individual demand is related with the demand of an individual consumer, whereas the market demand is the quantity demanded of a commodity by all the consumers at a given price during a given period of time. Now you see here that in market demand is quantity demanded of all the consumers, quantity demanded by all the consumers at a given price during a given period of time. Second is it may or it may not follow the law of demand. For example, it is possible that an individual consumer may demand more even at the higher price. Generally, law of demand says that there is inverse relationship between the price of the commodity and demand of the commodity. If the price of the commodity is higher, the demand of the commodity will fall. But in individual demand, the individual consumer may demand more even at the higher price because of the other factors. Other factors are price of the related goods, substitute goods and complementary goods, income of the consumer, and taste and preference of the consumer. Because of the other factors, the consumer may demand more even at the higher price also. And in market demand, it always follows the law of demand, that is, market demand always fall with the rise in price and vice versa. Individual demand is not affected by all the factors affecting market, whereas market demand is affected by all the factors affecting individual demand. Our next topic is movement along the demand curve or change in quantity demanded. Now, change in quantity demanded happens when quantity demanded of a commodity changes due to the change in price, keeping other factors constant. It is known as change in quantity demanded. Students, when there is a change in the demand of the commodity because of the change in the price of the commodity, if the price of the commodity rises, demand falls, and price of the commodity falls, demand rises, and other factors are constant. There is no change in other factors. Other factors are price of the related goods, substitute goods and complementary goods, income of the consumer, and taste and preference of the consumer. If these other factors are constant and demand is changing due to the change in the price of the commodity, it is known as change in quantity demanded. It is graphically expressed as movement along the same demand curve. Movement along the same demand curve. There can be either downward movement, expansion in demand, or upward movement, contraction in demand along the same demand curve. Now, what is expansion in demand? Here it means when the price of the commodity falls and demand of the commodity rises, it is known as expansion in demand. And when the price of the commodity rises and demand of the commodity falls, it is known as contraction in demand. We can understand it through this curve. At price OP, the quantity demanded is OQ. When the price is OP, the quantity demanded is OQ. And what happens? The price of the commodity rises from OP to OP1. What is happening to demand? The quantity demanded falls. That falls from OQ to OQ2. Here the demand of the commodity falls from OQ to OQ2. It is contraction in demand. And the curve moves upward. And the curves move upward. And when the price of the commodity falls from OP to OP1, here it falls from OP to OP1, the quantity demanded rises and from OQ to OQ1, and the demand curve moves downward. Expansion, here we can see it. Expansion in demand is shown by downward movement from AB, here from AB. Now this is the expansion of demand. AB, this is the expansion of demand. Quantity demanded rises from OQ to OQ1 due to fall in the price from OP to OP1. And contraction in demand is shown by upward movement from A to C. This is the contraction in demand, and the curve is moving upward from A to C. And quantity demanded falls from OQ to OQ2. And the price rises from OP to OP2. This is how the movement along the demand curve takes place on the same curve of demand.